Now let's proceed to the evaluation of the latitude. So this is the range of exposure that will produce densities between 0.25 and 2.0 above the base plus fog density. So the evaluation of latitude is determined by the range of exposure given. So the higher the latitude or the relative exposure, there will be a long scale of contrast. If we have a long scale of contrast, we have a low contrast. Again, if our latitude is wider latitude due to the range of relative exposure, we will have a long scale of contrast. We know that we have a long scale of contrast, there is a low contrast. Ang mnemonics kasi dyan is long, low. Long, low. Long scale of contrast, therefore we have a low contrast. So, kung may long, low ka, automatically, if you have a short scale of contrast, our contrast is high. Tatandaan si long, low para hindi malito. Long, low. Long scale of contrast, we have a low contrast. So, automatically, short scale of contrast gives us high contrast. Next is the evaluation of film speed. This describes the sensitivity of the film emulsion to the exposure. So this is defined as the relative exposure needed to produce a density of 1.0 plus the base plus fog. Okay, so that is the characteristic curve. Characteristic curve measures the density level given by the amount of energy, given by the amount of intensity of our X-ray beam. Okay, now let's see the film handling and storage consideration. Film handling. Okay. So radiographic film is a sensitive radiation detector and must be handled accordingly. So clean hands are a must and hand lotions should be avoided. Why do you think hand lotions should be avoided for handling a film? Kasi di ba kapag may lotion yung kamay natin, sometimes it's sticky. And that stickiness can go or can be attached on your film. Mag-iiwan siya ng fingerprint mark, ng thumb mark. Once na dinevelop nyo yon at nag-leave ng fingerprints on your film, makikita yun. And we don't want that. Ayaw natin na may mga thumb marks, may fingerprints yung film natin. Because that is considered as a handling artifact on the radiograph. Kaya, hand lotions should be avoided. Okay lang na maghugas ng kamay before handling a film. But wag maglalagay ng hand lotions. Okay, so doon tayo sa heat and humidity. Kung naaalala, from our first topic, the processing room, I've already said that our film is sensitive. It is sensitive to light, sensitive to radiation, and some sensitive to fog or to heat. Because its sensitivity, once na na-expose yung film natin, unexpectedly, it can cause fog. Those fog adds some density on our radiograph. So, radiographic film should be stored at temperatures lower than approximately 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees in Fahrenheit. So, humidity level should be 40 to 60%. Heat increases the fog of a radiograph and therefore reduces contrast. Kaya nga tayo may mga ventilation sa ating processing room para makacirculate ng ayos yung air level inside. Mabawasan yung init. Because every time we process using the processing chemicals, nagpo-produce siya ng heat. Mainit. Umiinit yung processing chemicals. And those heat can have an effect on our film. Magkakaroon ng heat fog. Again, fog gives an added density, and that density is unwanted on our radiograph. Once na magkaroon ng heat fog ang ating film, kapag dinevelop, mababawasan ang contrast. It will reduce the contrast. So, storage under conditions of elevated humidity, pag sinabi natin elevated humidity, greater than 60%. Dahil humidity level should be 40 to 60% only. It also reduces contrast because of increased fog. So, static artifacts are possible when the relative humidity dips to below 40%. So, once our humidity level increased by greater than 60%, we will have an increased fog on the radiograph, on the film. Once our humidity level dips to below 40%, what would happen on the radiograph? Magkaka-fog pa po ba? Magkakaroon ng static artifacts. Static artifacts have three types or three patterns. We have crown, we have tree, and smudge artifact. I think the one that is from a humidity level, hindi ako sure. I think that is the crown. If I'm not mistaken, it's either crown or tree. But I'm sure it's not smudge static artifact. Because static artifacts can be get from handling of the film, and also from the humidity, and also from placing the box of the film horizontally. So, kapag nagkaroon kasi ng pressure yung ating film, pag pinlace natin siya pahiga, pa horizontal instead of vertical, this pressure can cause static artifacts on the radiograph or on the film itself. So, pwede din na kapag ang handling sa film is rough, yung bigla ang pagbunot, biglaan ang pagpasok sa isang kaset, magkakaroon din siya ng static artifact. And that static artifact is smudge. When it comes to handling static artifact, that is smudge. Yung bigla ang pagbunot, nagkaroon ng friction with each other dun sa kanyang mga kasamahan na film sa loob ng box. That is smudge artifact. So, back with the humidity level, if it dips down below 40%, there will be a static artifact. I'm not sure if it's crown or tree, but it's either of the two. Maalin doon sa dalawa. Yun yung nagkakos ng static artifact. Humidity level dips down below the 40%. Next is light. Okay, so light, radiographic film must be stored and handled in the dark. That's why we have dark room. To control light, there should be a well-sealed dark room and a light-proof storage bin for films that have an electrical interlock system. So, kung medyo mayaman yung hospital ninyo, meron niyang storage bin, light-proof storage bin, kung saan doon nakalagay ang mga radiographic films. So, dun sa bin na yun, it has an electrical interlock system. Once that there's a light open or the door of your dark room is open, the bin won't open. Kasi naka-electrical interlock system siya. Kapag may madedetect na may liwanag, hindi mag-open yung storage bin ninyo. Okay? So, if low level, diffuse light exposes the film, fog is increased. low level lang to ha. Yung parang pasulyap sa liwanag ang nangyari. Ang mangyayari, there will be an increased light fog. If bright light exposes or partially exposes the film, a gross, obvious artifact is produced. Pag sinabi natin gross, obvious artifact is produced, kitang-kita na meron added density. Malaki yung added density on the radiograph. Matataklo ba ng unwanted density on the radiograph? Why? Na-expose yung film on a bright level. Kapag pasulyap lang, fog lang yung mapoproduce natin. Paano po yung pasulyap? For example, nasa developer yung film mo. Meron kang ka-intern or meron kang katrabaho nagbukas ng liwanag, nagbukas ng ilaw, tapos nalaman niya, ay, meron palang dinidevelop, pinatay niya ulit. Pwede magkaroon ng fog doon. Pero, kung pinatitiktikan mo yung film from the developer at may nagbukas ng liwanag, sobrang nakuha niya lahat yung liwanag. Mangyayari doon, magkakaroon ng unwanted density. Ma-overlap niya yung image. Next is dark rooms. Dark rooms usually are located next to radiographic imaging rooms and are lined with lead. So, an exposure to ionizing radiation increases fog and reduces contrast. Yung tinatawag nating radiation fog. Bakit po magre-reduce ng contrast? Fog gives unwanted density on your radiograph, and this unwanted density will reduce your contrast. So, the fog level of unprocessed film is approximately 2 microgauge. Sige, sulat natin. The fog level of unprocessed film is approximately 2 microgray or 0.2 milliroentgen. Fog level of unprocessed film is approximately 2 microgray or 0.2 milliroentgen. Take note of that, ha? Okay, next to our radiation, let's proceed to pressure. Katulad na sinabi ko kanina, static artifacts can be get from handling, from humidity level, and from pressure. So pressure artifacts are usually from the storage of film to prevent the film should be stored vertically. Yung pressure artifacts na tinatawag natin, static yun. May static artifacts din doon. Okay. So, pag tinanong kayo, how should the film be properly placed or be properly stored? It should be stored vertically to prevent pressure artifacts. So, our film, to have a maximum storage, ang film mapapahaba yung buhay. We can lengthen the period of our films, the lives of our films. We can lengthen it. So, if the storage room have a 21, if our storage room could have a 21 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, we can store our film from 30 to 45 days. Did you get it? Our film can be stored 30 to 45 days if our storage room for our films could have 21 degrees Celsius or 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If we want our film to lengthen from about greater than 1 year, ha? Our temperature should be 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Our film can be maximum stored at greater than 1 year if our storage room temperature is 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Ma'am, is it possible to stop the film aging process? O diba may pa-Shopee pa tayo? Is it possible to stop the aging process of your film? Yes, it is. Place your film in a 0 degree Celsius temperature. In short, freeze. Sa freezer, i-freeze natin yung film natin. Pero, once na na-freeze nyo, napalengthen nyo, sobrang greater than 1 year yan, it will stop the aging process of your film. Ma-exceed natin yung expiration date. Kasi ang film natin have expiration date. Okay, let's see. Hahanap ako dito ng film na may manufacturing date. Okay, wala akong mahanap. But, our film can be stopped, its aging process, when we freeze it. Like 0 degrees Celsius yung temperature niya. We can use that only if we have warmed up our film at a temperature of 35 degrees Celsius or 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Once our film was freezed at 0 degrees Celsius, we can use that when we warm up those films at a 35 degrees Celsius or 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Another one, the reason why should we have a ventilation process is to avoid a higher temperature within our dark room. Diba nasa dark room ang storage room natin? Because a higher temperature can rapid the aging process of our films. Mabilis may expire yung film. Kahit hindi yan gamitin, basta mainit yung temperature ng storage room nyo, magkakaroon ng rapid aging process. Okay. Ito naman is another idea or another na pwede nyo ipagmalaki sa iba nyong friends. Did you know that the packaging of the film is called the photo-inert photoethylene bag? Or yung tinatawag na metal foil. I know some of you have already seen films inside the box. So, sa pagbukas natin ng box, meron pang paper sa loob. Dun sa paper na yon, andun yung ating radiographic film, 100 pieces of radiographic film. That bag protects our film from exposure. Pinoprotektahan niya yung film natin. And ang tawag doon sa bag na yon is photo-inert photoethylene bag or metal foil.